This is part 30 in the series that covers this sensational war diary, written by a platoon leader named Kurt from the motorized SS Division Reich, which in 1942 would become a Panzergrenadier Division, and then in 1943 would become the 2nd SS Panzer Division Das Reich. The last time we were with Kurt, between his Regiment Der Führer and the Regiment Deutschland, a total of 152 Russian tanks had been destroyed, and the Minsk-Moscow highway had been secured. In this episode, we'll continue with Kurt's story, integrating an original situational map, rare associated film footage, and a sensational report from Division Reichs Stürmgeschutz Battery. So stick around, it's worth it. I promise. On September 9th, Kurt wrote in his diary that the direct push on Moscow could now begin. The 11th of October, 1941. The advance to the east was meant to continue on this day, with the SS Regiment Der Führer, Kurt's regiment, attacking up along the left side of the freeway. While the units were being staged for the attack, a peculiar message comes in over the radio, which immediately turned everything upside down. From the area of Jelnja, a Russian armored train has been spotted. Soon it's then reported that the train is on the move and is headed straight for Gshatsk, since the rail line to the southeast of Gshatsk has already been cut, which means that it won't be able to travel on. A group of pioneers are sent out to the town of Holenski to cut the rail line there, and so to remove any possibility of its escape. Before we move on to a combat report written by a crew member of the StuG that engaged this armored train, I'd like to thank the M45 Patreon supporters, which make the purchase of these original war diaries possible. You can open a free account at military1945.com. Please consider joining our community. The StuG named Lützow, along with Reichs Regiments Der Führer and Deutschland, are ordered to prepare themselves for combat. Lützow and the Regiment Der Führer immediately move forward to engage it and begin firing on the approaching armored train. Lützow scores multiple hits against the locomotive, its armored turrets, and against the embedded anti-aircraft machine gun emplacements. Spotters on the train are able to localize where the fire is coming from and direct return fire with the armored train's mounted guns. Part of the artillery regiment embedded with the SS Regiment Deutschland, which remained back in reserve, are positioned just east of Iwaszkowo, which is a distance of about 1,500 meters, begin firing at the armored train. The 4th Battery of the Artillery Regiment begins firing from a distance of about 400 meters. Our outgoing fire is accurate, and with multiple hits on the locomotive, the train comes to a stop. In spite of the damage, the train's weapons continue firing until around noon, when it is finally silenced. The crew dismounts and abandons the badly damaged train. Der 12. Oktober 1941. Teile der 10. Panzerdivision, schon an Tage vorher. Elements of the 10th Panzer Division had already penetrated deeply into the Russian lines, and the enemy, understanding the importance cuts their resupply line, which leaves them critically low on munitions. In response, we're ordered to advance about 27 kilometers through the Russian lines and to bring up fuel and munitions for our armor. Then we're to secure their flanks during the continued advance. We head east down the freeway during the night, traveling as fast as possible, with everyone at the ready with their rifles and machine guns. Breaking through the Russian positions, we arrive to our comrades at around midnight. Securing the area, we set up a defensive hedgehog, and our task has been accomplished. The biting cold gets incrementally worse, and the ground, completely frozen, can only be penetrated by axes and hatchets. Sentries need to be relieved regularly, as the cold cannot be withstood for long. This steady rotation lasts through the night until the first rays of the sun emerge. The enemy is nowhere to be seen. Evidently, they've moved east during the night, heading to areas that are easier to defend. To get an overview of how Operation Typhoon is progressing, we'll take a look at an original Operation Barbarosa situational map for October 13th, 1941. The Vyacheslav pocket had been liquidated, which to many in the German High Command represented the likely end to serious Soviet resistance. It's during these fateful days that it was realized that the war had not yet been won. The SS Division Reich, along with elements of the 10th Panzer Division, were taking the lead, advancing along the Minsk-Moscow highway, which was basically the only road in the Soviet Union that was up to Western European standards. Now, racing past the town of Borodino, where the monument commemorating the defeat of Napoleon in 1812 is located, Kurt is only 135 kilometers from the Soviet capital. Victory certainly seemed to be within their grasp.